Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Great. Okay, we're going to be waiting for some other teachers to join. So please give us 3-4 minutes more so we can have more participants, okay?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Hey, I present myself. I'm Angela Anchondo, as Claudia already presented. As Claudia already presented me, I will be working with you today in our workshop about planning lessons and courses, a topic that we as teachers probably know a lot of, but we still have some issues or maybe some topics that aren't fully understood as well. The session today, let me share with you my screen. Give me a second, please. Okay. Okay, give me a second. And you see my screen? Okay, perfect. Let's start. Okay, also before I start, please, if you have any question, any doubt, any situation that you would like to share, let me know. I will be asking for you, some of you, to open your microphones in several times during our workshop in order to make this more enrichful, okay? So let's start. As we said, we're going to start with the workshop planning lessons and courses, and obviously, well, our outcomes today, what we are going to explore through the session is, first of all, what are the basic concepts in planning? As I said, I'm sure all of us are related or we know about the lesson plan, but let's focus a little bit on the basic concepts. The importance of getting to know our audiences and the use of chunks. We're going to talk about what the word chunk means. And as a third point, we're going to see as well the importance of timing, the key elements in planning as well, and all of these 4 points are going to be seen in different websites and tools that may be used in your classroom. As Claudia already said, obviously we have a lot of resources, we have a lot of tools that you can use through platform, through Estela, but we can help, or we can take help from other websites, obviously combining them with Estela, okay? So let's start. So first of all, I would like you to go please to Padlet. I'm going to give you some minutes. Please open another window on your website and please go to this link where it says padlet.com. I'm going to share it with you in the chat, okay? Give me a second. So it is easier for you to copy it. Yes, also you can use a QR code. I use it as to make it easier for you.
Do you want another beer?
I guess it's enough. I want my food.
Are they going to do it together? Yes, right?
Yes, please. On the bottom, if you have never used Padlet, on the bottom part, let me open it over here. On the bottom part of your screen, you will find a plus sign in pink color. Okay, if you give a click on that plus sign, a text box like this one will appear and you will be able to add all your comments.
Angela, I have a question. Can you help me?
They have a question.
Yes?
Okay.
Give
I
me a
can
second,
see
please.
the, yeah. Tranquila.
No puedo activar mi audio.
What's the name?
No escucho.
Ay. Mm.
Okay, what was the question? Can you please share with us?
Hello.
Hello, yes.
Can you
What was
hear
the
me?
question? Yes.
Okay. I'm not pretty sure about the website. Is that Angela Lodash Anchondo? Is that correct?
Yes, we have a link ready for you to use in the chat. So maybe you can go there and just
Oh, yeah,
click.
I found it.
Yes, click on top of it and you will be taken there.
Okay, okay. I'm in the page. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. I've seen that all of you have already entered Padlet. Okay, now the question you have to answer, please, now that you have made some comments, thank you. Please, in your own words, tell me or write in some words what makes a good class actually good. So exactly here I've seen one that says a good class requires planning, good materials, great teacher, students interactions. Excellent. Okay.
Hello, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, I'm still lost.
Don't worry. Where are you lost?
Well, I'm actually using my phone to do the conference, and you said you sent a link.
Okay.
Yeah, but I actually don't know where I can. I don't know where I can find this link. Can anyone send that to me, if possible?
We have the link ready for you to use here
But,
in the chat. Maybe if you open the chat, you're gonna find the link there.
all right, I'm going to take a look.
You
I'll
just have to
it
click
myself.
on top of it and you will be taken there.
Right, yeah, I'll take a look. I'm sorry for interrupting. Thank you.
No, it's okay.
Yes, don't worry.
Don't worry.
Sorry,
Okay,
can you hear
ready?
me?
Yes.
Yeah, we have a situation because I have some comment that they can hear you a lot. So is there any other kind to hear you well?
Sorry, they cannot hear us?
Yes, indeed, they can't hear you.
Okay, is this something in general? Are we having problems with the audio?
Well, for example, I had two comments that they say that they can't hear you. I don't know if there is other way to hear.
I can hear perfectly.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. We may be facing some problems But if you please help us logging out and then logging in again, that would be a way of solving this problem. Yes, we did have a problem with the audio, but now it's fixed. And I think that most of you can hear. So please, if you cannot hear, let us know so we can do something about it.
Okay, I'm telling them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Some of the problems with the audio yeah. Thank you so much. Some of the problems may be solved by logging out and then logging in again. So let's continue. Yeah,
Hello?
we have some problems with audio.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello, can you listen to me? Hello?
I have a doubt because I'm on the page related to parking garage, but I don't know how to write my comment. Can you help me with that? Hi. No, I guess we're having some problems.
Hello, Miss Erica. I don't know if you can hear me, but once you are there, if you want to post your comments, you can.
Okay, sorry, we were having.
I couldn't hear you. Sorry.
We're having.
No, now I can.
Questions, please write it down in the chat. There is people to see all your questions and doubts. Okay. All the comments. Okay, so you have written on the Padlet that it has positive student at the center of it. Learning should be happening all the time. Activities and the students. Okay, perfect. Okay, so think about interaction between teachers and students. Interactive classes, new material, clear instructions. Perfect. Okay, motivation. Okay, a good class requires planning, as we already said. Know your audience, make your students feel comfortable in your class. Perfect. I think that most of all, we have a good idea of what planning lessons are. So, okay, let's continue with our workshop. Okay, so I'm going to share again my PowerPoint presentation. Okay, we're going to be talking, as we said, the topic was the concepts in planning. When we talk about planning, obviously we know that we have to have in mind our objectives and goals. And usually our lesson plan starts, or the first thing we have to think of are the goals, the aims. What do we want to achieve with our students? What do we want to, but it is important.
Excuse me, we have problems with the listening.
You can see here in your screen that you have to take in consideration as well, and that you
Sorry to interrupt, but we can listen very well. That
wrote it down on the Padlet.
Sorry, I have several permits to listen to you. I can listen to you very well.
So am I.
Escucha.
Can you talk a little because we cannot listen to you?
Give me a second just to try. something new in order to see if it helps you clearly. Teachers, I'm going to change real quickly my computer in order to try a better internet connection and have a better workshop for you all, okay? So please give me a second. I can hear you. I won't take longer than 2 minutes, please, so that you will have a good workshop and a really useful workshop for you. Just 2 minutes, promise. Okay, video. Okay, a mí. No, porque me sacó ese.
Qué rico.
Okay, can you listen to me better?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. ¿Cómo se le sube tantito el volumen? Creo. Perfect, thank you. Okay, now let's continue then. Okay, so I'm going to start again talking about this slide. Perfect, perfect. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for all this inconvenience, but now we're okay, okay? So as I was saying, we already know about the basic concepts in planning. We usually is what we do every day, right? We plan, we think about the objectives, we think about the goals, what we want to achieve with our students, okay? So it is important that, yes, obviously, when we make a lesson plan, when we plan, we have to put in first, as a first point, the goals. But it is very important to say as well that planning, when we plan, the objectives aren't what we have to keep only in mind. There are several things that we have to take in consideration as well. And some of those elements that we have to take in consideration as well are those 5 elements that you can see on the screen. Thank you, Mr. Henry. Okay, so the first element that we have to consider as well is considering the students or audience. Okay, we have to know them. We have to know what they like, what they don't like, where, how do they work better in the morning, for example, the book, or if they are more active in the afternoon, and so we have to really know our students and our audience. On the second element that we have to take in consideration is thinking of the content, materials, and activities. Depending on the content that we are going to work with our students, is also the material and the activities that we are going to use. Example, if I have to, I don't know, for example, practice vocabulary, I will be able to use different games like using flashcards or having a memory play, etc. So it is different that if I have to work speaking, for example, I will use role plays, I will use other type of activities. So also the content has to be taken in consideration when we plan, okay? Jotting down ideas for future reference. Even though we know our students, there may be some times or some ideas that we think they will be boring for them, or that they will be not as interesting for them. But we have to take them as a plan B, C, or D. Perfect. Here, Miss Alma is saying she does competitions with flashcards. I think it's a very nice activity to help the students with the vocabulary and also maintain them, sorry, in a dynamic as a dynamic class. Okay, so as I was saying, jotting down ideas for future references is having this plan A, B, or C in order to work better with them. Maybe I think it will be boring, but if I give if I try it out with our students, it is going to be useful for them as well. Okay, having a quiet ponder and cutting things out of magazines. If you won't let me lie to you. Okay, basically anything that you think that will help your students, you're going to use it. I don't know if it happens to you, but sometimes when I was giving classes, when I was showering in the morning, I was thinking of, oh, I could make this idea. No, sometimes even when we are about to get asleep, when we are showering, when we are making other things, maybe driving, and even having dinner with our family, you're still thinking of activities that may help your students. So the idea of this is you have to know your students in order to know or to use different activities. Okay, perfect. Until here, anyone wants to talk or give a comment about what we have been saying? May I continue?
I have a question.
Yes, miss.
Can we do this for secondary school?
Yes, 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 yes. Sometimes we think that older students or even adults or high school students, they don't like to play. But I ask you now, do you like to play? Or do you like to be dynamic?
I like it.
Exactly. So if we as adults enjoy those type of activities, obviously our high school students will enjoy them as well. So it is very, a little bit again, as I already said, it is very important that we know our students. And as I said, jotting down the ideas for future reference. Maybe our high school students, I think that flashcard competition isn't going to be useful, and I tried it once and it works very well. So yes, you may use it with high school students as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss. Okay, so now I will ask you, okay? In each case, exactly, as Ms. Laura says, in each case, you need to adapt it to your student's level. Obviously, you're not going, just starting with the vocabulary. The vocabulary you use with first grade is, students in elementary school isn't going to be the same, no? Or for example, you can make drawing competitions for elementary school, but you cannot make drawing competitions for high school students, but you could make them or you could ask them to write down a story or write down a description about something using a poem, no, using the vocabulary, and that is also a competition. It's a different way to work the vocabulary, and it is going to be useful for them as well. Okay. Perfect. So now, uh, going now to this part we have been talking about of getting to know the audience, I would like to listen to just one, two, or three people, please, that can share with us how well do you know your students, but also why do you think it is important to know them? Okay. Mr. Let's see. Miss
I want,
Marta
I want to say something.
Luisa Martinez, or who? Okay, who already? Miss Aura?
Maureen, yes.
Yes, please. Yes, Miss.
Uh, I think it's very important to know the students. I know my students, and it's important because I know how to plan, how to do my planning, and what can I do in the case they are boring, and to change the activity and do maybe something about spelling or anything like that. As you said, maybe playing with them so they can get ready to work with the book, especially because I have the last hours at the school.
The harder ones.
Yes, for me it's harder. Thanks.
Thank you, Miss Aura. Yes, so if you know your students, you're going to know which activities you may use with your students as well. Here on the chat, let me, Mr. Diego says it's very important to know the students because I can plan my classes better. Perfect. Miss Veronica Barragan says, I think know the students is very important. We can do different activities depending on multiple intelligence. Miss Ana Maria. Miss Brenda Gonzalez, I think it's really important to know them because I have to plan for them, not for me. Exactly, that's a very important point. As you said, we are planning for them, and more, maybe we sometimes may think that our students learn the way we learn. And the truth is that it doesn't work that way anymore. Our students need different activities. They have to develop the 21st century skills. And through knowing them, we can plan activities that will help us or will help them, sorry, acquire the language, but at the same time, develop the 21st century skills. Perfect. Sorry. It says, no,
Hello.
we can, yes?
I have another question because, well, I know that we should like look for these activities, but can you give us like, well, maybe not today, but can you send us like some activities? Because, for example, in my case, I know what activities I need to my students, but sometimes I'm very lost that I don't know which activities exactly, what to do. Like I teach every day 2 hours to the same group. So imagine how many activities I have to design. And maybe you can help us send us such activities, please.
Yes, 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 count with that. Actually, at the end of the webinar, I will be sending you some information like the concepts and the theory that we have or we are going to see in our through the workshop. And also, yes, I could send you these different activities through the workshop. I am going to show you different strategies that you may use. As I already said in the objectives as well, I am going to share some websites that you may use with your students now that we are using completely digital classes, but also that you may use in your classroom, in your physical classroom. Okay, so yes, count with that, all of you. At the end, I will share with you my email. So at the end, if you send me an email, I can rewind you all the information about the theory, the concepts, and ideas that may help you work with your different students. Yes, count with it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss. Okay, I'm going to read the last comments on the chat so that we continue. Thank you a lot for all this participation you are having. Thank you very much. Okay, so it says, I think it's important to know the students because you can plan what they need. Perfect. By knowing your students, you know what you can work with them. Exactly. I think we are all at the same pace. Okay, so we all know and we all agree that knowing our students is going to help us design the activities necessary for them, not for us. Okay, so yes, at the end of the webinar, I'll share with you my email. Don't worry, you'll have all the information. Also with your coach, you can contact me. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, so let's continue. I'm going to show you talking about the different strategies or different websites that you may use. I'm going to open one that I use. One of tool that we use or that we can use to give our presentations, obviously, is, give me a second. Obviously, is PowerPoint, okay? The other one I am going to use right now, it is called Genially, okay? So let me just, I think you're not seeing my, no, okay. You need to share the screen, yes, share the screen, and then you see. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, now you see it. Okay, so this website, let me go back. It is called Genially. If we have time at the end, I will share with you and show you more about what they have. You can find infographics, you can have games already stated that you can use, okay? So as I was saying, one tool that you can use in order to present topics to your students or give information, even exercises to your students, obviously is PowerPoint. It's one of the most common ones. The other one is this one called Genially. Okay, so I'm going to present. I'm going to present the information in here. Okay, so it says we're going to talk about suggestions for the beginning of the course. When we talk about getting to know our students, first of all, we have to talk with them at the beginning of the school year. These are some strategies that you may use at the beginning of the school year, like the letter or questionnaire writing. What does this mean? Literally, you ask your students to write a letter that gives you information about them, what they like, what they don't like, what they like from the previous teacher on the previous school year, or you could give them the questionnaire with concrete questions about specific information you would like to know about each one of your students. Also, the first lesson sequences that may help you as well as an informal evaluation. In this, you ask them to tell you about something that they know, a topic that they really manage in English. Example, if one of our students loves to play football or soccer, you ask them to tell you about soccer. And that way, you will notice if they have a correct vocabulary, if they have a correct grammar, so you will know from where you're starting with all of your students, okay? So the first lesson sequences helps you obviously to get to know your students, but also to know their English background, okay? Another one is very common, the labels, which are where the students write their own names, but they also make a drawing or they make something that relates them to them. Example, if, for example, me, Angela, I love to swim, maybe I will write my name Angela, and write a little poll at the side. Okay, so that way it helps you also. Let's continue. Other suggestions beginning of the course is to register mnemonics. Okay, with this one, give me a second because I think it didn't change. It's not changing. The other one is register mnemonics, which is you relate your students to something. Okay, I have to be really honest about this. That is, this information, when you register the mnemonics, is information only for you. Why? Because of the sensitive information that is taken with it. If what mnemonics is, again, you have your students and you relate them to something. It doesn't have to be a physical characteristic, but it may be, for example, okay, this is Omar, who is best friend with Guillermo, for example. Or you may say, okay, Angela is the one that has glasses and sits at the front, but you know that Angela is the one with glasses. Okay, so register mnemonics is a list when you write the name of your students and you name also a characteristic to relate them and help you get to know them better and faster. Obviously, this list is swift at the beginning of the first month, okay? The idea is just to help you remember the name of your students, okay? The other one, obviously, is the settled places. When you get to know your students, you know by the behavior, by how much English they know, how can you sit them? If you have a student that has better comprehension of the language or acquires the language easily, you can sit it with a student that doesn't have this same ability, okay? And the other one, the group profile, sorry, is the one that helps you obviously know how your students are. So with this or for this, you could ask some questions like how many of you just live 5 minutes away from the school, or who comes to school by bus, who comes. So the idea of this the idea of this is to also make them feel comfortable and start talking about their lives. I was laughing because, because Miss Carla said she has a student that she names, that his name is Edgar, and she calls him Mr. Edgar Allan Poe. So it's also a nice, a nice way, yes, to relate the students and also like feel comfortable with you. Okay, so like right now, using Miss Carla, do you other have any students that you relate to a characteristic or someone? Miss Norma says,
Yeah,
what can I?
I
Yes.
actually do have a bunch of them, and I do call them by their AKA surnames. And I usually do that mostly when I have students that have for me, very difficult names to remember. I usually relate them to someone or to something, and I tell them, okay, I'm gonna call you like this because I related to this, and this reminds me of this. And usually I give them the story, and they're fine with it, and it's fun for them.
Thank you, Ms. Carla. I think this is also very important that what you're sharing, right? That you also ask, you tell them why you are asking them that way, and you ask them as well if you can ask them that way. Because if they feel connected with you with that story that you tell them, also they are going to feel more comfortable and secure in the classroom. And it's what we want to achieve as well with our students. Thank you, Ms. Carla. And Ms. Norma says, what can I do if my students are not into English too much, or if their everyday environment is not suitable for acquiring the language? It's hard for me to make them get into it. Okay, first of all, Ms. Norma, well, we really have to get to know our students. We have to identify which types of activities they like the most. We can even ask the Spanish teachers which activities they enjoy the most in Spanish class or in other classes. And those type of activities, adapt them to what we are going to work with them through the classes. Motivation is a key for them to get engaged or focused. Some of the time, or I think most of the time, our students aren't really into English because obviously at the beginning they don't understand what we are talking to them, or they don't know how to communicate with us as teachers. So first of all, we have to make them feel secure, that they can make mistakes and you are there for them to help them. And also find these type of activities that will motivate them. Yes, obviously sometimes they will have to write or fill the book, but we can help from other type of activities, competitions, um, other type of presentations, outside activities that will help them and help us. Okay, hope I help you with the question. I get you, but sometimes even if I motivate with activities, it's hard for them to understand and apply the structures accurately. Yes, again, as Miss Elizabeth says, yes, confidence between the students and the teacher is very, very important. If they don't like, if they feel that they can make mistakes, as I already said, they are going to start participating a little bit more. We as humans, most of us are afraid of being ridiculous or being mistaken, no? And so if they feel comfortable, if they feel this nice environment, probably it will help you to start participating a little bit more. Miss Alma says, I think that is important that they like the English class. Yes, no, if as I already said, they don't feel comfortable with the language because at the beginning they don't understand what we are talking about. But as we go along through the school year, through the different topics, and they get more vocabulary, they get more structures, they know your habits or how you work with them, they are going to feel more confident. No, it is normal that at the beginning they feel anxious or they feel stressed because it's that they don't know how to communicate. Miss Laura is also telling us, what about movies and especially music? I think that music is a good tool to make them interested. Yes, we getting to know our students relates also to this part, to know which are the movies they are watching, which is the Netflix series that they are watching, what is the music that they are listening to. And if we can take help from those resources, obviously you can use them. I can tell you that from first grade to junior high school, they love music videos. So yes, you can find also in YouTube a lot of subtitle videos that may help you.
I also, you can use English attacking high levels. I used to work with that, and that is very interesting for my students. We have a lot of sources about movies, so it's helpful for me.
Thank you, Ms. Erika. Yes, now taking Ms. Erika's comment and giving you a small commercial, yes, English Attack is very, very useful for your students. I can assure you, and Ms. Erika now won't let me, again, lie to you, English Attack is very useful. Why? Because you have other videos that are constantly refreshing, and you will actually, our students are watching Netflix, our students are watching.
Excuse me, something happened with the listening.
Yes, give me a second. Now, can you listen to me? Can you listen to me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, yes, I was telling you that if you have English Attack, please use it. It is a very good tool, and the experiences that we have had through the different schools is that it is very useful for your students through the development of the 4 skills, obviously, and also as a fun way to prepare your students for certifications if in your school are interested in the different certifications, okay? So yes, English Attack is also a very good tool for you and your students. And the nice part of it is that you don't have to work a lot. The exercises and everything are already there for you to use, okay? So if you may, let's continue with the workshop, okay? So now also on finished sentences, I'm going to go a little bit faster through these topics. Again, don't worry, all this information will be sent to you at the end of the workshop. So if you have also any question or any other comment after the workshop that you would like to make,
Sorry, can you send us that information by mail at the end of
yes,
it?
yes,
Okay.
yes. I will send you my email, and I will send you the email through our mailing service. Sorry, you will get all this information, and also I will share with you my email at the end of the session. So if you still have any question or any comment, please feel free to mail me, and we can check any situation. Okay.
One of the things that I have noticed of English Attack is depends on the students you have, because the higher you get into the levels of like B1 plus, C1, the context is a little heavy for the adolescents that we have. We're talking about kids that are 12, 13, 14 years old. So maybe if they would have a little bit more videos that are adequate for their age, it would be nice.
Yes, thank you, Miss. Yes, the obviously, well, yes, there are some videos that, as you say, the context or the material that is on the video is a little bit harsh for those kids, but also, I don't know, Miss, there's also a kids corner filter that you may use, and this filter will send you videos for lower or younger kids as well. But yes, Miss, I take your comment and I will pass it by. Don't worry. Okay, so continuing with the workshop, again, some of other suggestions at the beginning of the course is giving your students unfinished sentences. Sentences like, I like to, and then your students have to finish it. I enjoy working with, and your students have to complete the sentences. Don't worry, or I mean, don't, you can combine sentences like, I enjoy eating cheese pizza, for example. So they don't feel like you're getting information out of them, okay? And also the bartering is the students get ideas of how they enjoy to work, and they go socialize it with the peers, and they have to convince the peers in order to use the different, example. I enjoy working with English Attack, for example. And then I go with Claudia and I tell her, okay, Claudia, I enjoy working with English Attack. Do you enjoy working with English Attack? And Claudia says, I don't like it that much. I convince her. She convinces herself at the end, and then she signs this idea. So that way, at the end, you will have a lot of streets and you have ideas of activities that your students enjoy and will help you plan activities through the school year better and easier. And the other one is one thing I know about English, which is you ask again your students what they know about English, what they like to do with, or what they enjoyed doing with the teachers in previous school years. And you can use them this school year as well. Okay, but also we know that at the beginning of the school years, we receive some kids that think some way, but as the school year passes, they get new ideas, they get, the context changes, the peers change, etc. So
through these subsequent lessons, you can also apply these two activities that will help you work with your students. For example, the 50-second talks, which is you literally give your students 50 seconds to tell you what they like or what have they liked about your classes and what they would like to change. Sometimes you think that 50 seconds is a lot, and sometimes you may think that 50 seconds isn't enough time. Okay, so also this activity will help you understand how your students feel, what they like, what they don't like, what can you change in your teaching practices, but also as an informal activity or evaluation to know how have they developed the different skills. The other one is the learning contracts where the teacher and the students literally negotiate what they like to do and not. Obviously, our students probably will tell us that they enjoyed playing a lot or doing games, etc. But the idea of this is that the teacher negotiates with them and also say, okay, I'm going to give you several activities that relate to games, but you have to work with the book as well. So it's a negotiation, okay? And the idea of this is that they have to sign it and they really commit with this part, okay? I think I'm going to open the chat. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm going to continue. Okay. Okay, and the last part of it is at the end of the course, you're going to get other type of students. I mean, they are the same students, but again, the context changes, what they have learned has changed. So at the end, you gave them a tracer study or a questionnaire, which is you ask them what they like the most, what they learn about your course. That way you can share it with the next school year teacher in order to help them know a little bit more the students. But also remember, even though the previous teacher shared with you the end of course questionnaires, you have to make one at the beginning of the course because after vacations, our students change again. No, they get bigger and they get wiser, okay? So yes, Miss Elizabeth Cabrera says the 50-second talks can be taken as a warm-up in the class. Yes, actually, all of these activities may be used as well as a warm-up, as a wrap-up in the different timing of your lesson plan. Yes, perfect. Okay, so now this is very important. When teachers take the time to know their students, they feel confident helping them in the process of acquiring the language. Again, this is a statement that I repeat myself a lot. We don't want our students to learn the language. We want them to acquire the language. If our students knows or learns the structure of a present perfect, but he or she cannot go and ask for a hamburger or book a hotel room or just have a simple conversation with a native speaker, okay? It doesn't really help them in their lives, okay? So we want them to acquire the language and our activities should be planned for them to acquire the language, okay? Now, please, until here, well, do you have any questions or any comments?
Now everything is clear. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Now, please, could you go into this link, paulf.com/AngelaAnchon185? Please, there's a question for you, and we will see the answers in order to continue with the workshop. Please, I'm going to give you some minutes to answer this small poll.
I can see the link.
Hey,
Sorry.
I'm sorry for interrupting.
Sorry.
Was it the same link that we were in before?
Let me share with you the link.
No,
Yes, give me a second.
I think you put the link, but you turned it off right away, so I couldn't see it, to be quite honest.
Here it is. This is the link. Let me write it down for you. Okay, could you all enter the link? Es que no tengo.
No.
You may find the link on the chat. There it is for you, Mari Carmen and Miss Elizabeth, help me. On the comments. On the comments, there's a link for you. Okay. Okay, I'm going to give you 1 more minute in order to, perfect. You have been answering, okay. Perfect, okay, so I'm going to change now my screen, give me a second. Okay. Okay, so now you can see what have been some of your answers, okay? So 43%, okay, we have 43% who is their first or second year giving classes. We have only a 14%, 14% 3 or 4 years giving classes. And okay, I think most of the students is their first or second year. Okay, now please, any of you who answered that it is their first or second year giving class, Miss Adriana, 26 years, okay? I would like to hear you in a moment, Miss Adriana, if you may, okay? But first, any teacher that answered that it was their first or second year, could tell me please, how much time do you take planning a 45-minute lesson? Okay, Miss Elizabeth, 2 hours. Mr. Ever, 2 hours, perfect. Okay. Miss Jasmine, 2 hours, 1 hour, perfect. Okay, now, any of the teacher who answered more than 5 years, for example, Miss Adriana or Mr. Jorge, who have 26 years and 13 years giving English classes, how much time do you take planning a lesson of a 45-minute lesson? $30, Miss Adriana, okay. Miss Aurea, 40 minutes, okay. Perfect, okay. So why am I asking you this? Let me change again my PowerPoint, 30 minutes in my 15 minutes, Mr. Jorge. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, why am I asking you this? Let me change it. Okay, when we are beginner teachers, usually it's a whole dilemma that we maybe like summarize when we may think that planning takes too long, right? That planning is very exhausting because we have to take in consideration what we know about our students, what is the physical space that we're going to use while we are teaching, what materials am I going to use, the plan, etc. Okay, so there are a lot of aspects that we have to take in consideration, and that's why usually when we are beginning teachers, that we have 1, 2, or 3 years to giving English classes, we have to take all this, or we want to take all this in consideration, and we take 45 minutes planning our lessons. As you could see, those who answer that have more than 5 years giving classes, they become so familiar with the planning that they may even find the whole process boring. Okay, it is very important that even we are beginner teachers or experienced teachers, that we have to plan. Why? Because our students are also changing. But it may also be that experienced teachers switch into an autopilot mode because they have done things a lot and they have given the classes a lot of times that they have the topics here, fresh for your students. Okay? So yes, it is nice that you take just 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 15 minutes planning a lesson, but you have to as well take consideration what are the likes of your students, what they like, what they don't like, which activities work better with them, so that is going to be useful for your students. Okay? Miss Aurea, don't worry. We have used the link. It was just a small poll, so don't worry. We continue with the workshop. Okay, we're going to be using different websites through the workshop, so don't worry. Let's continue. Okay. Okay. So as I said, don't worry, Miss. Even though you are a very experienced teacher, you have all the topics fresh for your students, but we still have to innovate on different activities. Okay? And now I ask you, how do you select your activities? When we talk about a lesson plan, how do you select your activities? Someone, if you want by voice, if you want on the chat. According to my students, okay?
Excuse me, as you said, knowing my students, I can select the activities.
Okay. And usually, like, which type of activities do you use? Okay, yes, depends on the audience, depends on the topic. Just think of your group. The group you have right now, in this moment.
We cannot listen to you.
Now, can you listen to me?
Yes.
Yeah, that's better.
Perfect. Thank you all of you. Okay, think of your group, the group that you have at the moment, your students, and you already know them, you already know your friends, you already know everything about them.
Yeah, you're breaking up badly again.
Can you listen? Okay, perfect. So you're telling me through the chart, according to the topic, the way they learn. I'm a second grade teacher, so I use songs and games with video and discuss, funny activities, thank you, reading and discussing, according to the learning necessities, according to my students' skills and what they need, according to the day and the time of the class. If it's earlier, it's easier. If it's at the end of the school, it's harder. Yes, a mix of all. Okay. I am going to take the comments, for example, Miss Elizabeth, or I lost your name, but the teachers that said that they use flashcards, that they use songs, they use posters, etc. Is
Why do you usually use the flashcards for vocabulary? Why do you usually use the posters to work with them as speaking activity? Because all of this is teaching with chunks. Are you familiar with the word chunks? No. Okay. What are chunks? Yes, yes, yes. Perfect. Okay. Chunks, if we take it literally, is this pieces of something. Okay. So usually when we work with our students through the different topics, through the different timing in the school year, you know which activities, like I lost the name, teacher, sorry, but the one that said it is easier to work with them during the morning, it is harder to work with them at the end of the school day. So if I know that my students are working better at the beginning of the day, maybe I will use or that time to work with the book and give them the grammar structure and give them a specific warm-up or different dynamics as a warm-up. Yes, Miss Cynthia? Would you like to share something?
Yes, I prefer to do speaking activities at the beginning of the day. For me, it's better. I have first grade students, and for me works better in the morning to let them speaking.
Perfect. Thank you, Miss Cynthia. Thank you for sharing. As Miss Cynthia says, okay, she knows that at the beginning of the day, they work better speaking, or I can get their attention better with speaking activities. When I plan, probably through my, I don't know, maybe not all of the week, but 3 days of the week, I am going to use speaking activities as a warm-up. Okay, so that is the chunk. When I already know that several activities or these activities help me get my students engaged and focused. Okay, it says, you mean work with all the material, just pieces? No, Miss Aurea. Okay, it means that I have an activity that I know it works, for example, the speaking example, and I am going to use it because I know it already works. Example, a passive voice, a present perfect that may be hard for them. Instead of thinking, how can I get their attention? How can I explain them better? How can I get them engaged with the topic? If I know that using a video at the beginning will help me introduce the grammar structure, then I use it. I don't have to overthink which activities or implement new activities with my students. That's what it means. Miss, thank you, Miss. Maria Cervantes says, a brainstorm about the topic is a good way to start the class. Yes, brainstorming always is a good time, either as a warm-up or even a wrap-up, because it gives the students the opportunity to participate in the class and express their ideas or comments. Okay, so well, that was all about the teaching with chunks. You can work with flashcards in order to review structures using only images. Exactly. Not only flashcards may be used, for vocabulary, but also to create sentences and to review different grammar structures. So the idea of this is that you as teachers, yes, may adapt all the material in order to get your objectives, but there are several activities that you know that they already work. So you can take them like as a safe zone. Okay, so that's what chunks mean. Okay, so now until here, please, I would like to read again some of your comments. Okay, so we have been talking about getting to know our audience. We have been talking about the basic concepts of planning different activities. Please, I am going to give you 2 minutes to go again into Padlet and write down, yes, Miss Nora, and write down what are some new ideas that you have? If you would like to share with all the teachers that we are on the workshop, some activities that you have used in your classroom, please feel free to do it. The Padlet will be available for you also at the end of the workshop, okay? So please, I'm going to give you some minutes. Here it is, if you didn't left it open. Here it is. So please, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Go into Padlet and write new ideas that you have taken from the workshop up until now.
Sorry, do we have to open a new website, or can we work with the,
You can work with the one you open at the beginning.
Oh,
Yes,
okay,
you can.
thanks.
Yes, yes, don't worry.
Thanks.
Okay, now that you are answering, I'm going to wait a little bit more to talk about the different comments that you are using. But also, I will take the time to help you. As you can see, if you can see the screen a little bit, while you are writing the different comments, all of us can see what you are writing, okay? So this may be useful for your classes to ask your students to write different thoughts and it doesn't have to be in the classroom, but it may also be used as a homework activity and you can also adapt it or link it to a Stella platform, okay? So now that you have been writing, let me read some of your comments. It says, it is important for teachers to get to know their students so we can understand their interests, hobbies, and what are important for them. Perfect. Can we have something similar to Pleno in English? It is very interesting. We have been working on that. Hopefully, we will have it soon for English as well. Right now, I cannot promise anything, but yes, we are working on that. We want something like Pleno as well. Okay, so yes, don't worry. Hopefully, we will have it soon for you. Okay, planning to be aware of the students in order to know how to plan a class, add activities, pay attention to the objective of planning, mimic storytelling with students. Perfect. I am learning a lot of activities with all the teacher and their brainstorms. Actually, there's also another website that I can share with you for brainstorming. It is called Poplet, and it is very useful. Hopefully on the Managing Resources webinar, they are going to use it. So get linked on that webinar as well. And getting to know your students, the best tool, it would make planning easier. It is very useful. English attack. Perfect. Thank you for all your comments. Okay, so I think we are all at the same pace. We know that it is important to know our students. It is important that we use different tools in order to maintain them motivated and to have them with
engage and focus on what we need them to engage and focus. Okay? Perfect. Here it is. Okay, now the importance of timing, and I'm sorry. I know I have seen the time, so I'm going to go a little bit faster. I'm really sorry that we started a little bit later. Okay, but the importance of time. Just a second.
Good.
Yes. Okay, it is the importance of time.
Bad connection again.
Can you listen? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Everyone, whether a student, a starter teacher, or even an old lab, works easily with a beginning, middle, and at the end.
We're having problems. We can't hear you.
What about now? Can you hear? Can you listen?
Yeah, that's better.
Perfect. Okay. So when we talk about the importance of time, we have to talk about the beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay, we have to talk about the
Yeah, you're breaking up badly again. Sorry. Try say something now.
I think she's completely gone. I cannot hear a thing.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. So let's switch again.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you listen to me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so I was telling you, thank you. I was telling you that when we have when we talk about a lesson plan, or we talk about lesson planning, we have to talk about a beginning, a middle, and an end. So when we decide the length of our activities, it's very important that we take in consideration all these three timings, okay? The warm-up, and it usually goes into 5 different states. The one which is the warm-up, the presentation, the independent practice, the guide practice, and the wrap-up. We have to present the information to our students. It doesn't have to be a very long presentation, but we have to give our students the time to practice it as well. At the end, okay, it is very important that we give them a wrap-up. We have to close the session. It doesn't matter if the topic we are going to work with our students is going to take more than one session. Example, if I am going to talk about, again, a simple example. I'm going to talk about the ocean's vocabulary. So the first session, I am going to give them the vocabulary of the whale, the I don't know, the whale, the shark, and the goldfish, okay? I have to make sure that in that session, they really understood or they really relate or know the three concepts. Then the next session, I am going to open with a warm-up, and then I am going to review what I see on the first session and then give them more vocabulary. But again, it is also important to close the second session with the other three words that I gave them, and so on, okay? Because I think that timing is an enemy of us teachers most of the time. We don't get to the wrap up, okay? So that part is very, very important, and I'm going to emphasize a lot on it, okay? So now
Again, we have problems with the audio.
now yes, yes, that's the one. Perfect. Okay, so when we talk about clear boundaries, we have schools that sometimes they are very strict either with the schedule or how they work, etc. And they tell us, okay, at 9 o'clock starts the class and I cannot give you any minute more or less, okay? So you can work this way, but the importance is that you give the boundaries to your students, that you give them the clear rules for it. Also, you have the fluid boundaries, which are those schools that may let the students get a little bit, for example, later, and it doesn't matter, or they are not as strict with what they are working, okay? So it is just that you have to tell your students, either you are going to work with them in a very strict way, or you're going to be flexible in several situations. Once your students know perfectly these rules, you have to start working. And usually when you start presenting, the teachers may use this time as well to collect the homework or to check either the students really participated in the homework or not. This will help you use the time in a better way. Also, you have to take care of the atmosphere. Again, as we said from the beginning, your students need to feel comfortable using the different activities, okay? So if you are a teacher who likes quiet, concentrated students, it is okay, but you have to let them know. Or if you like or you prefer lively and eager students, you may use a lot of games with them, as well as friendly students where you give them a lot of activities where they can socialize and collaborate with their peers. I'm not telling you that you have to be one of these aspects or these characteristics, but you may be or use different activities through the school day and also obviously through the school year. Okay, the sooner you work out what is comfortable in your setting for you and obviously for your students, the sooner they can take your lesson starts. And granted, so the planning is going to be easier for you. As they feel more comfortable, you are going to take less time planning different activities for them, as Miss Adriana, as Mr. Jorge told us at the beginning. Why? Because you already know your students, they already feel comfortable, you already feel comfortable with them. So it is going to be easier and it is going to take less time for you to plan with them. I think someone wanted to add something. No? Okay, perfect. Okay, so again, the importance of timing, I'm almost finished, okay? But it is that we have to give our students different stimulus. Okay, so first of all, we have to work with them give them the information, but you can work it with them in different situations. Example, meeting the stimulus is you give the students information, incomplete information without or taking care of without confusing them, but you give them incomplete information in order for them to analyze and to really think of what you want to achieve with them, sorry, and that way they were going to get the topic or the vocabulary or the grammar structure you want to work with them. Analysis activities is very important as well. As I already said, we want them to acquire the language. We want them to be able to communicate and to work with native speakers even. So analysis activities will help them develop as well critical thinking, observation, and obviously analysis, and it is going to be very useful for them and for you. Creation, which the students work with, example, project task learning, they are going to get a product at the end, they are going to be creative, and they are going to get more engaged in what they are doing, okay? So these are some activities that you may use with your students. Yes? No? Okay, so remember that there are a lot of strategies. I will share with you some with you at the end of the workshop, and it is also very important that you make some retrospect about the lessons that you have already done. Which activities have helped you, and which activities have worked with you perfectly with your students. Okay, again, I am going to go really fast through this. This is concept information, it's just theory. And these are 12 procedures of tests that you can use with your students. Usually when we read a text, we ask our students to either write a questionnaire, the answer for a questionnaire, or write a review about what they just read, or etc. But there are a lot of things that they can do as well, like interpretation. They can create a new ending for the story. They could create a poem using the vocabulary, etc. A project word, which is having a product at the end of the topic or the lesson, etc. So all these activities are some of the ones that I'm going to share with you at the end, and that hopefully may be useful for you. I'm going to try to add activities for preschool, for intermediate school, for elementary, and for junior high school. Okay, so don't worry. All of them are going to be useful for you. Okay, when we talk about giving our classes and giving the lesson plan with our students, we have to use a chunk that I named here a block, okay? And it's an activity. But remember that the attention from our students rises and then it falls after several minutes, okay? So we have to change the activities constantly, okay? So we have to give them the block, give them the activity, give a break to change, to make this transition into another activity, and then give them another chunk, another activity that I know it already works with them. Give them something to put in practice, the topic that you're working with them in the lessons, okay? Until here, I don't know if we have any questions on the chat or any comment that you would like to make. No? Everything okay? Perfect. Okay. So again, the breaks and the transitions are as well very important, and you have to take them in consideration in your lesson planning. Because if we as an adults get tired, our students get tired as well. So rounding off complete breaks in a class, even take them a little bit outside, will be very helpful for them. Okay. And again, I told you a few minutes ago, I am going to make a lot of emphasis in this part of the wrap up. Usually we don't have enough time to make a wrap up, but depending on the topic and depending on the lesson, these are some activities that you can use to close your class. No, for example, the written, the orally, or fun activities like asking them to recall the information or review what they saw with you in the lesson, okay? Give back homework as well, explain new words, or write journals, maybe useful as well. Maybe you won't have time to write a journal all of the time, but also some of the days, maybe once a week or twice a week, and it will be very helpful. And this will help you also plan the next session and know from where you are going to start, where you're going to start from. Okay? Okay. I'm going to go to this part. Okay? So we are going to play Kahoot. This is another element that you can use with your students. Okay? So I'm going to ask you, please, if you could go to the game pin. Huh? You have to go into kahoot.it. Miss Marta says they love Kahoot. Yes, it is very useful for your students. They enjoy it a lot. And this one is, again, Kahoot has two modalities, which is one that you can use it in the classroom or in live, like we're going to use it right now, or other that you challenge your students and they can use it as a homework at home. Okay, so please get into the game pin.
Hello, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit lost. Where do I need to go to again?
Kahoot.it, please.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry, the game pin changed. I'm very sorry. Is the one you are watching? Is the one you're watching on the screen, please? Sorry. Thank you, Miss Carla. Okay. Hello, can you listen? Okay. Okay. Okay, so we have players. Okay, so we have 28 players, so let's start, okay? So we are going, okay. Okay, so the first question is, taking in consideration how student behavior is when they are alone and in groups.
I don't know what's going on here, but it's giving me to select some shapes, I believe, and I selected the first one, but there was no instructions, and then I get an incorrect.
Okay, so let's continue with the next question.
Mine's actually frozen. I'm stuck.
It's not doing anything.
Yeah, same here. It's just nothing.
It's frozen.
Oh, my.
Can you see the scores?
Yeah.
It's a 0.
Okay, let's try the next question. It says, learning words, the names for things in a new language is very important and very natural. You have to read
The music is annoying.
Well, you're lucky because I got nothing going on here. It's actually making all the decisions for me. It's just not letting me make the selection, and it's just going time's up or incorrect. I don't know what's going on here.
You aren't able to see the question?
No, there are no questions. It's just shapes, and that's it. That's all I got. It just tells me pin number 2 of 8, Mr. Austin 0.
You have to look at her screen too, so you can see the questions and the options.
Yeah, I'm using my computer, and it's not giving me anything.
No, on the screen where she's like having all the presentation, you have to look at that and the web page of Kahoot. You have to look at both.
Exactly. On there you will find the figures and the answer that corresponds to each figure. For example, in this one, the triangle was the language patterns, and in that screen you can see at the top the questions again. It appears in big, and then at the top of the screen. If you would like, I can read for you the question as well. Okay, so.
So
Yes,
what you're saying is that we have to have both screens at the same time, and one
Yes,
is the presentation you're giving us, and in the other one we're going to answer.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Okay, so we're on the second question, right?
Yes, we're on the second question, exactly. Thank you. So first, before we go to the next one, learning words, the names for things in a new language is very important and natural and has to do with language patterns, okay? Language patterns has to do with all this grammar structure, the functions that we have to do, group of words, etc. What we are talking right now in this moment is the key elements of the planning lesson. So the first one was classes and people. We have to know what is going on with our group, who is the people that is in our group and what they like. This one has to do with the second key element for planning lesson, which is the language patterns, which obviously we are English teachers and we want them to, again, acquire the language. So language patterns has to do with learning new words, learning new grammar structures, learning all the functions that have to do with the language, okay? Hopefully now you're ready. Let's see the score and then let's go to the third question, please. Okay, so we moved a little bit. Miss Auris is on first place. Okay, so let's continue with the next one. Ready? Let's start.
The third question, right?
Yes, true or false. In order to express yourself in any spoken language and understand, you have to be able to read, write, speak, and listen. True or false? Exactly. Okay, so yes, it is true. As we learn in English and in Spanish, sorry, in English you also have to learn how to be able to read, write, speak, and listen. Perfect. Okay, so let's see the score. Miss Auris is still on the first place. So let's go to the fourth one. Again, true or false? Speaking and listening in a foreign language doesn't involve combinations of sound. True or false?
I mean, false.
Exactly, it is false. Okay, why? Because speaking and listening, we have to involve different combinations of sub skills. So we have to use either reading, writing, and so. Okay, let's go. Okay, Mr. Jorge is now on the first place. Let's continue to the next one. Again, true or false? Literature may be worked using anything you need for enjoyment, understanding, including pictures, meme, or role play. True or false? Exactly. Usually literature may be hard for to work with our students. Not most of our students like this subject. So yes, you can use anything that helps us with your students. Okay. The score changes a little bit. Okay, let's continue. It says the characteristics and way of life of a particular group of people, whether their age, nationality, gender, or language, has to do okay, culture and customs is another key element that we have to use in the lesson planning. And yes, we have to take in consideration the group, either their age, their nationality, and so in order to prepare activities for them. We're almost finished. students assessing their own progress, the learning course materials, their methods has to do with the study skills. Study skills is something that we have to take in consideration as well. Maybe at the beginning or some years ago, we didn't have to take it in consideration. Now we do. As I already said, one of the 21st century skills is that our students become autonomous and that they really know what they are learning and they really become involved in the learning process. So we have to involve our students in the assessing of their own progress, okay? And the last question.
What is the last question?
We can work in English as we help students to improve in any other areas like numeracy, computing, and pottery. True or false? It is true. As we said, we want our students to acquire, we want to them to communicate, okay? So if we involve methodologies like CLIL, for example, and use subjects like math, geography, social studies, history, and so, we can help our students acquire more vocabulary and really acquire the language, okay? So these are the key elements for a planning lesson. Here they are. You're going to receive them at the end. Okay. And to finish, these are some activities, or these are common activities that you or we as teachers use with our students, okay? So these are different concepts that may be used, for example, the name and basic type of the activity, what are the goals, reasons, and beliefs, content of the topic, context, things that we have to take in consideration while planning, and that we have to give more importance to some of them than to the others. What is the teacher? What role of the students? What are the language of this table will be shared with you in order to help you decide which common activity you're using and if you are covering all the concepts or the elements planning lesson. Okay, so we are already finished. I don't know if you have any final comments. Sorry for all the technical situations that we have. It is the first webinar that we made, so we would like to hear what are your opinions. If you have any conclusion of the workshop, please let us know. We want to give you better workshops and useful workshops for you. It is the idea. So we would like to listen to hear or read you.
We have a little pool so they can answer some questions.
Before you leave, please, they will be sharing with you a poll where you can also write all your comments, what you enjoyed and what you didn't enjoy. Please let us know. As I already said, we want to give you better workshops. This is the first one we made. And we have 3 more, okay? There's another one tomorrow that has to do with managing the topics, the learners. Another one integrating ICT in your classes, and the other one of getting to know your students and the topics you manage every day, okay? So please don't leave the workshop before you answer the poll. I will be sharing all the information with you. Here is my email as well. Please, if you have any question, if you have any comments or any situation in your school, etc., please feel free to write me an email.